So, welcome, Linnéa, to Metallarium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Thundermother, this new album, Dirty and Divine, and more things related to the metal world. So we are and rock and roll, obviously. So we are starting by asking, how are you doing today? How is the band during the last couple of years? Because Black and Gold were released in 2022, and now we have this new album 3 years later.
Exactly. So today we are all feeling pretty good. We just arrived with our tour bus this morning in Hamburg, and we're doing some interviews today, and we're doing an acoustic signing session tonight. So acoustic gig with a signing session. So we're feeling stoked, and we're doing the first gig of the tour tomorrow. So we're very happy, and yeah, it's been a while since Black and Gold. A lot has happened since then, and I wasn't a part of that album since I've joined the band since 2 years back now. So this is my first album together with Thundermother.
Nice. Nice, nice. So, when do you decide writing songs for this new album, or and all the songs new, or do you rescue any composition that led with out for the previous album?
Yes, Filippa wrote one of the songs from this new album back in 2009 when she started the band. She wrote 3 songs immediately, 2 of which were released back then, and one of them she saved for uh, for when she felt it would be a good time to release it, which was now. So that song is called Take the Power, and it's a fast Motorhead kind of vibey song ish. So yeah, we did rescue one song, and but most of the songs we have been writing this during this 2 year period when we've started playing with this new lineup.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Always I saw that Thunder Mother since the beginning, when the band starts in 2010, and we are more than 10 years that existence of the band. There's 15 years that existence of the band. Always the band continue releasing albums since the beginnings. Since Rock and Roll Disaster 2024, more than 10 years for that album. So how do you see now the progress of the band? Now, as you said that 2 years ago you were an outsider of the band, and now you are insider of the band. So how do you see the progress of the band out as like now as a first as outsider, and then as an insider of the band?
Mm. Um, Good question. I guess I think that the band's progression is uh, I want to say there's no set path to where we are going. We're sort of going with the flow and start digging where we're at right now, and we'll see where we end up. But I mean, the progress of any band, almost every band changes more or less. Even if it's not the lineup change, it's still a change maybe musically, and I don't think that Thundermother is changing much more than any other band. So yeah, I mean, in terms of changing a singer, that will always change like some of the fundamental sound of a band, and that has happened now too. So the difference between, for example, Black and Gold and this album, it's of course a huge difference because the sound is going to be different when there's a new singer, uh, and there's no way around that. I mean, that's what happens when you change lineups and specifically singers, not to uh, you know, because many people when listening to music they listen to the singer the most, I guess. And but the fundamentals of Filippa's guitar sound and her tone and the way that she grooves on the guitar, that's a consistent mechanism in the music of the band, I would say.
Okay. Okay. So now, and you talking about one thing about the how important is the vocals in general, with the change of the vocals, because the band previously has another vocals, and now you are entered as new vocals. So, do you think that your influence into this new album changed a little the perspective of this Dirty and Divine, since your point of view as new vocalist?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, of course, we all have different backgrounds and different tastes, I guess. So yeah, it does change in a way, and that's up to the audience to say if they like that or if they don't. I mean, I can't change who I am and how I sound. So either that's gonna be some people are gonna like it and some are not gonna like it, and that's life, you know. I can't do so much about that.
Okay. So many bands and musicians see each album as a child. Each one is special in its own way. So it's a bit of cliche to say that each new release is band best. But do you consider this new album is the best work to Thunder Mother, or perhaps you have another favorite one?
Now, I of course have to go with Dirty and Divide for the best,
Mhm.
because otherwise I would be, downgrading myself. And I'm working on not doing that because I'm an expert in downgrading my own work and my own, uh, abilities. So I'm gonna go with saying that yes, Dirty and Divine is the best album the Thunder Mother has ever made. That's very cocky coming from the new singer, but but okay, and I can say that also because of course now this album has more of my influences in it and stuff that I like.
Mhm.
So, and it's to my taste. So there you go.
Ah, great,
I
great.
immediately feel bad for saying that. It looks like a bragging. I don't like it, but now okay,
Mm.
there we go.
Great, great. Lyrically, what themes do you explore on this new album? Where does the inspiration come from, and why do you chose this name, Dirty and Divine, for this album?
So the working title for the album was High and Low from the beginning. We were like, because we our dynamic is very much that we speak about very philosophical questions together, the existential stuff, but we also talk about banal stuff about everyday life and laugh a lot. So there's highs and there's lows, and we have found a way to sort of be with each other through that sort of dynamic, I guess. And with the songs and the lyrical themes is kind of the same. We're exploring different themes. Some red thread is the for So Close, example, one of the songs, and Dead or Alive, and American Adrenaline very much is about the experience you have as a touring musician, basically, and uh, building of a career and a band, the stumbling, you fall and you get back on your feet again, and the journey and so on. And then, of course, we have a song like Feeling All Right, which is about feeling good about having sex with your partner and being confident and feeling, safe in exploring your sexuality in a safe environment, I guess. And you have Take the Power, which is essentially like a political song uh, about the state of the world. And we have what more do we have? Can't Put Out the Fire, which is a little tribute to Kiss, the band who we are all of us are fans of Kiss. So I mean there's a lot on the album lyrically, and I also think it's a little time capsule of these 2 years where we've gotten to know each other, and the lyrical themes very much reflect what we've gone through, I guess, and in how we've gotten to know each other and all of that.
Okay, okay, okay. So I'm now talking about especially for the cover art because this cover art is a little different compared to the previous one. I no,
Yeah.
I think this cover is a very different one. There is not the same with the same concept of the previous one. So for you, how do you choose the album art, and what are you trying to express with this discover? And how do you relate the stuff in especially with the music with the cover art when you try to reflect when you present an album? Usually, sometimes need to be same. Sometimes that you are playing hard rock into this album, but this album is more like a different concept if you're trying to see the cover art. So how do you
How do you
relate?
mean?
how do you relate the cover art with the music involved into this new album?
I mean, first of all, we think that it's not very deep, you know. It's just we thought it looked cool, and we
Mhm,
wanted to go for that. So I think that it was Filippa who had the idea of having like a baby or an angel on the
mhm,
cover, also because she was pregnant during the recording, all of
mhm,
that. So and then we decided on having four angels, and then we decided on adding the demon under it, and then we decided to make the angels a little more scary looking, I guess. And when the cover was done, then we were like, okay, but we need to have a name for the album. So we were bouncing around words that were relating to, I guess, the Christian God or whatever, you know, the and rock and roll, and like something opposite to that, you know. And then we thought of dirty and divine, like as two opposites that we try to, uh, I guess, embody in the music. Like we want to bring the goddess-like divinity of four fierce women, and we want to bring the dirty and the raw vibe from the rock and roll, I guess. And I
mhm.
think that that goes with the music. What do you think?
Well, in some ways, yes, but in some ways it's a different, like the more a different kind of band. That's important when you see a cover art in the shopping in physical shopping. Usually, you just need to be attracted with the cover art
Yeah, yeah,
because
sure.
I'm come from that era when you try to go to the physical CD and you can see the CD and just for the cover art you want to buy it. That's
Yeah,
not even when you never listen to the band. You just see the cover art, and that's one thing that attracted to you to purchase the album. So that's a good thing.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then you can just do shit
Mhm.
music with a good cover art, and people will buy it. No, I'm kidding. I had that experience with Alice Cooper when I was a kid. So I
Mhm.
was choosing from my father's CD collection, and I found the Welcome to My Nightmare from Alice Cooper, and I loved that cover uh, because it stood out from all the other rock and roll albums, you know, or hard rock metal albums. It was
Mhm.
light blue, and it had these insects, and he was wearing these cool clothes, and so that's been my favorite album, one of my favorite albums ever since. But and how I discovered rock and roll also from that cover. I would never have probably chosen that CD if it weren't for that incredible cover that also stood out.
Okay. Okay. Other detail, as you can see, and mean this. Well, we are close on for this to release this new album. And one thing is how, as you can see, by the end of the year of the last one, so usually a lot of influencers, webs, and a lot of people are like are released their worst albums from the year, the bad songs from the year. I don't know why they do that, but because for me it's different. The things when you don't like it, you don't need to say it. You just need to. I don't care. But these kind of people just trying to be like so like a lot of. I don't know how to say the word about this because for me it's very annoying this one. So, but
Mm.
as you can see, there's by the end of the years appears like bad albums from the year, songs, bad songs from the year, and with this, so when your album when your album will be released, or meanwhile, when there's right now there's upcoming reviews upload every day for this new album. So for you, how do you take the bad reviews, the good reviews? How do you take the opinion for a lot of people, especially into the press stuff?
I don't read it.
Mhm.
Simple as that. I choose not to take that in. I want to hear, of
Mhm.
course, I want to hear people's opinions, but people who write reviews, for example, they get paid also to write entertaining texts,
Mhm.
and those texts sometimes can be uh, not very nice because that's entertaining to people to read.
Mhm.
And sometimes when you've gotten a bad review for something, or you heard someone that thought that you were bad, and then you meet them and they're like, yeah, but you know, and then when you meet them face to face, it's a different story. So I have decided that I'm not going to read interviews or read both interviews and reviews unless they are sent to me by someone that I trust, uh, who knows that I can take whatever is said in the review, or if it's something that would make me happy to hear, or, you know, I've decided that I don't want to take that in because it only makes me sad. I mean, it doesn't make my day better. So why would I read? I don't even read the good ones.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I don't.
Mhm. No,
So
interesting.
then I
Interesting.
don't have to handle it. Yep.
Okay. So
Sweep it under the rug.
okay, another topic. So as you mentioned that you are promoting this new album for the in a new tour. So but beyond of that, what kind of plans do you have for this new album? Perhaps you will embark more tours, you will come to do a full tour here in Latin America, as Asia, who knows, Australia, who knows what kind of plans do you have for this new Dirty and Divine and more things, obviously for the band. Perhaps you already work in a new album, who knows?
Well, like the main goal is world domination, of course. But we're gonna start off here in Europe, and we're having, since Filippa recently got a little baby, we might have to postpone any plans that we have to go from like overseas to America or to South America and Latin America. So we'll see. We really want to go to Latin America. I mean, I've been there so many times touring with Therion before. So I really want to go back, and I think that there's an audience for Thundermother there. It's just I guess it's also it's a matter of schedules and logistics, and of course money, because it's very expensive to tour in Latin America. So we need to, it has to be like a reasonable investment, I guess. But we really want to go.
Mm. Okay, okay. You mentioned one thing about you came early, you came first without Thundermother as with a different band here to Latin America. So a lot of people says, especially the bands from Europe, say that the Latin American crowd is a very passionate one. So just
Yep.
and what's your point of view on when you were there, when you were here with a new, did you think like it is the same, that the
Absolutely.
and for you, what is the best country at that moment to receive the music of at that moment that band that you play here?
Uh, I think that we did a lot of shows in Mexico. If it's not South America, but it's Latin America. But
Mhm.
uh, really good crowd, great crowd in Colombia, great crowd in Chile, great crowd in Ecuador. I mean, it's it's always a great crowd playing in Latin America and South America, or you know, always. I've never been disappointed by the crowd over there. So I couldn't pinpoint any one country that has the best audience, because it's always a whole nother vibe playing there than it is from playing here.
Okay, okay. So on the other
Better vibe.
on the other hand, I imagine you must also mention sometimes that your sound is reminiscent of certain bands that
Of
may
course,
have inspired you. But have you ever been told that you sound like a certain band when you really don't?
probably. Uh, I think the one thing that for me is very interesting is that people say to me that I sound like as a singer, that they say to me, you sound like Doro. And I'm like, no, I'm just also blonde and sing rock music. And people say to me, you sound like Janis Joplin. No, I don't sound like Janis Joplin. That's something that happens to me personally a lot, that people think that I sound as another female rock singer, when in fact it's a whole another, you know, way of singing that they do. So that's interesting to me. But as a band, I think that it's pretty much, I mean, we are inspired by the old classic rock and roll. so it's impossible not to, sound like old classic rock and roll bands. But I've never heard anyone say anything that shocked me in regards to Thundermother, how we sound like. No, just for the vocals, that I sound like Doro. I was like, what? What kind of ears do you have? She's great, but we don't sound the same.
Okay. Okay. Now, as I said in the first question, we will talking about other kind of things beyond of Thunder Mother and this new album. And one thing that captured my attention now is eh, it's about now about the standardization of the sound. And what I mean with this, because when you hear now a lot of productions in this 2020, 2025, 2024, or let's put an example for the last 5 years, right now all records sounds great. There is not a bad record that sounds bad with errors in the in the playing. So a lot of stuff that's completely normal now because we have a lot of technology outside and inside when you try to record a new album. So but one thing that is for this album is that when you have 10 albums and the 10 albums sounds great, but in the 80s or the 90s, you have 10 albums and 6 albums sounds great and 4 albums, some albums that does not sounds great. That's completely normal for that era. But now that is not possible to hear bad records today because now there's a lot of work with the digital stuff, with the new technology for this one. So now what's your point of view about now this overwhelming produced records in the world with no band, no with no bad records, no bad musicians, no bad sounds. Everything sounds perfect now. So what's your
Yeah,
point of view about this? So do you think that we are oversaturated with this perfection stuff into this future?
absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. We are definitely oversaturated with perfection, and I think that everyone is getting bored of it. We want imperfections in music. That's what makes it human. And I think that we really wanted to achieve that with the album as well, to keep some of the imperfections. And I mean, I try to tell everyone to be very light on their hands with the auto tune. If it's a good take and one note is a bit off, that's fine. A good take can be it doesn't have to be perfect. And when you start drawing the notes, it's like, okay, but then you can just hire an AI singer instead. So, you know, I agree with you. We are oversaturated with the with the perfection stuff.
Yes, yes, and it was the last question. So
Okay, good.
we arrived to this with a sad moment of this interview. Thank you very much for this interview, Linnéa. It was a pleasure to thank you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
This
Javier.
album's a great one. Congratulations on it. And perhaps you want to add something to your Latin American fans and obviously Metallican followers.
We cannot wait. When we have the chance to go to Latin America, we will take it, because I cannot wait to show also my girls who's never been there the amazing audience in South America and Latin America. We just got to do it. And I hope it's soon in the future.